Rich people things that will make you question humans. In the 1500s, fashion wasn't just about looking good, it was about showing off who had the most wealth, status, and power. But what if I told you that some fashion trends in history were not only ridiculous but also dangerous, uncomfortable, and completely impractical? One of the most bizarre examples of this is the ruff, a massive, frilly collar that became a status symbol for the wealthy. It wasn't enough to just wear a ruff. The bigger, stiffer, and more exaggerated it was, the more wealth and power you were flaunting. Let's take a deep dive into the crazy history of these absurd collars and how they defined an entire era of fashion and class distinctions. The ruff was not just a collar, it was a statement, a way to say, I am so wealthy that I don't need to do anything useful, and I can wear something so impractical it makes my life harder just to prove it. To understand why the ruff became such an important part of 16th century fashion, we have to go back to the origins of the collar itself. The ruff began as a simple accessory in the early 1500s, worn by both men and women. At first, it was just a ruffled fabric that sat around the neck, much like the collars of today. It wasn't particularly grand or flashy, and in fact, it wasn't exclusive to the wealthy. But over time, something interesting began to happen. The wealthy elites wanted to distinguish themselves from the rest of society, and the ruff quickly became an easy way to do so. In fact, fashion in the 1500s was all about display. It wasn't just about looking good, it was about showing off that you could afford to wear things that were impractical and unnecessary. As the years went by, the designs became bigger and more elaborate. Ruffs grew in size, height, and complexity as wealthier people began to wear them. Soon, what started as a simple collar became a massive structure around the neck, sometimes extending out several inches or even feet. The larger and more extravagant the ruff, the more it symbolized your status and power. You could wear a ruff simply to say, I'm above the rest. It became a kind of fashion arms race, with nobles competing to see who could create the most ridiculous, attention-grabbing ruff. What was so remarkable about the ruff was that it wasn't just a fashion accessory. It became a clear marker of class and social standing.